Mozilla, the makers of Firefox, is in full-on damage control mode. They have updated their extremely controversial terms of use, but not in any way that actually matters. And they are going so far as to gaslight Firefox users, stating to everyone that the only reason they say that they sell your personal data is because they actually do sell your personal data, and you're just confused. That's the only problem here, is you, the Firefox user, you're confused. This story is getting more and more ridiculous with each passing day. This really all kicked off back on February 26th and 27th. The Lunduke Journal ran a story about how Firefox updated their terms of use, which granted extreme levels of rights to Firefox, to Mozilla, over your data. Quote, "When you upload or input information through Firefox, you hereby grant a non-exclusive, royalty-free, worldwide license to use that information," end quote. They even go on to say in multiple places that they intend to take that data and sell it to advertising companies. They state it flat out. Not even hiding it. They even went so far. They used to have this little statement on their privacy policy page that said, question, does Firefox sell your personal data? And the answer used to be, just like a week or two ago, quote, "Nope, never have, never will, and we protect you from many of the advertisers who do. Firefox products are designed to protect your privacy. That's a promise," end quote. They've deleted all of that. That's all gone now. That never have, never will promise, it's out the window. Well, then they updated their terms of use. And of course, that's where we're at today. But after all the backlash, I mean, this particular video I published on February 27th that says Mozilla can use your data however it wants, it's been viewed by a couple million people at this point. I mean, it's spreading all over the place. And all sorts of people are covering it. Thank you. People are finally waking up and covering Mozilla for the dastardly deeds that they do. It's nice to not be alone anymore. So that news story is spreading like wildfire. And of course they had to respond. They had to do something because they were hemorrhaging users. People were declaring from every social media and forum on the planet that they were out. That's it. They're done with Firefox. They're moving on. They had to do something. Firefox and Mozilla, they had to make a statement. So this is what they did. They posted an update to their terms of use. On Wednesday, they said, "We shared that we're introducing a new terms of use and privacy notice for Firefox. Since then, we've been listening to some of our community's concerns with parts of those terms of use, specifically about licensing." I like that they just kind of brush over that. It's just licensing stuff. That's the only issue. It's just some licensing things. They continue. "Our intent was just to be as clear as possible about how we make Firefox work. But in doing so, we also created some confusion and concern. With that in mind, we're updating the language to more clearly reflect the limited scope of how Mozilla interacts with user data." Okay, I'm all ears. And then they posted this on the actual updated license. Update. "We've seen a little confusion." You Firefox users, man, you are easily confused. You're like a deer in the road that sees a headlight coming on. They're just like, what the heck is that? I don't know. I'm so confused. I love the level of gaslighting here. I love how Mozilla puts it all on Firefox users and the press and everyone else. Like, you guys are you're so confused. You're so confused about what's going on. I continue. I've seen a little confusion about the language regarding licenses, so we want to clear that up. "We need a license to allow us to make some of the basic functionality of Firefox possible. Without it, we couldn't use information typed into Firefox." And then they state, quote, "It does not give us ownership of your data or a right to use it for anything other than what is described in the privacy notice," end quote. Now, the great part about that sentence is that nobody was claiming that Firefox was claiming ownership of the data. I never claimed that. I didn't see any other reporting, which seemed to all be based on my reporting. No one else was claiming that. The issue was that they were granting themselves a worldwide right to use the data, not that they owned it. So Firefox is coming out here and saying, oh, I never said we would own it. Well, no one said that. But thanks for really extremely stating that you didn't do something that we never even claimed you did, which now I'm starting now it's just making me more curious about what the heck you're doing with the data, because this is ridiculous. So here's what they've updated it to. So if you remember, the original stated, when you upload or input information through Firefox, you hereby grant a non-exclusive, royalty-free worldwide license to use that information. Okay, great. Here's the new statement. You give Mozilla the rights necessary to operate Firefox. This includes processing your data as we describe in the Firefox Privacy Notice. It also includes non-exclusive, royalty-free, worldwide license for the purpose of doing as you request with the content you input in Firefox. This does not give Mozilla any ownership in that content, end quote. Okay, once again, no one said that Mozilla was claiming ownership of the content. That was never discussed ever until Mozilla brought it up just now. Also, the way they've updated these terms are legally the same as they were a couple days ago. Non-exclusive, royalty-free, worldwide license for the purpose of doing as you request. Now, here's the thing. So this covers everything you input into Firefox, everything you type, everything you click, everything you upload, your IP address, your physical location, the operating system you're running, everything, every piece of data, right? So that's what's covered. And when you go through their Firefox Privacy Notice, it makes it very clear that they get to do whatever they want with it, and that the purpose that you are requesting when you use Firefox is to be advertised to, right? The privacy notice and the terms of use make it very, very clear that they get to do whatever they want. And by you using the software, you agree to their terms of use, which means that you are requesting that they can do whatever they want with it. This is a change to try and placate people who they think are stupid. This is Firefox. So Mozilla came out. They said, oh, poor Firefox users, you so stupid. Oh, you're dumb. Oh, you get easily confused. And then they say how dumb you are. And then they change the license, assuming that you are that dumb. I don't think you're that dumb. The privacy fact. We've also updated our privacy FAQ to better address legal minutia around terms like cells. While we're not reverting the FAQ, remember that question I said where, hey, Firefox made a promise. We will never sell your data, right? They deleted that. So now they're stating that they're not going to add that back in. So they're not reverting the frequently asked questions. We want to provide more detail about why we made the change. Mozilla doesn't sell data about you in the way that most people think about selling data. And we don't buy data about you. Okay, nobody claimed that. Good God. We changed our language because some jurisdictions define sell more broadly than most people would usually understand that word. Oh, okay. Well, let's get into it. Here's the details that they put out about the way Mozilla is defining sell, right? This is for selling your data. Quote, the reason we've stepped away from making blanket claims that we never sell your data is because some places the legal definition, and they put legal all in caps because they're shouting at you because they think you're stupid, of sale of data is broad and evolving. As an example, the California Consumer Privacy Act, the CCPA, defines sale as, and here we go, quote, here's the way it's defined: selling, renting, leasing, disclosing, disseminating, making available, transferring, or otherwise communicating orally, in writing, or by electronic or other means a consumer's personal information by a business to another business or a third party in exchange for monetary or other valuable considerations, end quote. That's selling data. So what Mozilla is saying here is you're confused because you don't know what it means to sell data. They then go on to describe that, yeah, so we take your data, right, and we give it to someone else and they give us something in exchange for it. That's what we mean by selling data. You were confused. You thought it meant something different. No, that's what we thought it meant. Selling, it's a barter. I give you this, and then you give me something else. I just sold that thing to you for whatever cost you gave it to me, right? Selling data. And Mozilla likes to pretend like you're retarded and you don't know what selling means. They literally describe right there awfulness, the awfulness that they're doing. They're taking your data, they're giving it to someone else, they're disclosing it to someone else, they're making it available, transferring it, or communicating it to someone else, and they're getting some money or something else in return. But it's not selling like you think of it. I mean, we had to say we are selling your data now. But see, here's the thing. The only reason we say we sell your data is because we actually do sell your data. But that's the only reason we say it. You apparently are very confused. Jerks. Absolute jerks. They go on to say, in order to make Firefox commercially viable, there are a number of places where we collect and share data with our partners, including our ads, blah, 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 blah. Whenever we share data with our partners, we put a lot of work into making sure that the data we share is stripped of potentially identifying information. They specifically call out their privacy-preserving technologies. And if you've been following the Lunduke Journal's coverage, you know that those privacy-preserving technologies, it's called PPA, privacy-preserving attribution. It's Mozilla's alternative to web browser cookies. It's a way of storing information about you that is more proprietary, more locked down, and more able to be controlled by Firefox and Mozilla. So all of your data is then sent to Mozilla's servers, who then sell it to advertising companies, one of which is Mozilla, because Mozilla is an advertising company. Don't let the words privacy preserving fool you. There's nothing preserving your privacy about privacy preserving attribution. It's a very doublespeak 1984 sort of language. It is not what they're doing. They might as well make it privacy destroying attribution or Mozilla enriching privacy data mining or something, but that's not what it is. Now, what's interesting in all of this is all the stuff that's going on around this. We talked about this a little bit before about how Mozilla is changing radically. These changes to their terms of use come days after Mozilla had a radical shakeup to their leadership. And again, the Lunduke Journal has been covering this in detail. The Lunduke Journal is the only news outlet on earth that covered this at all. I'm the only one. If you go look into it, the leadership at Mozilla, the new board chair people are major operatives within the Democrat Party, staffers for Obama and Biden, executives from the Democratic National Committee. I mean, that's what's happening there. They are becoming an increasingly political organization, and they've talked about that. They literally did a rebranding a couple months ago where they're not just a web browser open web company anymore. Now they're a global crew of activists. They literally call themselves that. That is their wording, right? And they're making it clear that they are evolving what they do. This is from a February 19th post from the head of the Mozilla Foundation, that they are evolving what they do, and specifically diversifying, focusing on advertising and artificial intelligence, and they're finding new revenue sources and manifesting their mission, which their mission is being a global crew of activists. So, and that change to leadership happened days before the new terms of use were rolled out to the public. Now, coincidence? Probably not. I mean, this just seems kind of flat out what they're doing. Now, a fun thing that may be a coincidence, but I felt like it's worth pointing out here. Mozilla has a forum. It's at discourse.mozilla.org. It's the official Mozilla forum where they talk about all things Mozilla related. Well, yesterday, the site went into lockdown mode. It went into, quote, read-only mode because there are overdue hosting payments. So now, here's the question. When, at the moment, when Mozilla as an organization was getting yelled at the most, when their users were absolutely boycotting, taking to their platforms and going nuts on them. They went over to Mozilla and they were just flooding Mozilla with, oh my gosh, what are you doing? I just saw this stuff. In fact, they were deleting any reference to the Lunduke Journal, by the way. Mozilla, like others, does that. And they were deleting all sorts of references to other news articles and critical statements. They left some of them, but deleted most of them. And then mysteriously, their whole forum went into read-only lockdown mode for overdue hosting payments. Now, were their payments overdue? Did Mozilla forget to pay their bills? Maybe. I mean, they're having a big shakeup with their leadership. It's chaos over there right now. So that is possible. Or, and this, I'm just floating this out there, did they lock it down so that people couldn't continue to flood their forums with this intense level of criticism, including links to the Lunduke Journal? And they just use the overdue hosting payments as a bit of an excuse, because you can create that little, you can put a site on Discourse into a lockdown read-only mode and put a little statement up top that says whatever you want. So I could even take my forum, the Lunduke Journal forum, and make it do exactly this. It goes into read-only mode, and I could put on the top, this site is in read-only mode because there are overdue hosting payments, right? It could look exactly the same, and I could do that myself and have it have nothing to do with hosting payments. So which is it? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. The problem is Mozilla is not a transparent organization. They're about as closed and locked down as you can get. They do not respond to critical journalists, not ever. They actively censor people. I mean, their stated goal is to do more than deplatforming of those critical to them or with the wrong politics. They are a censorship-heavy organization. They're a global crew of activists. But here we are. They've kind of gone maybe a little too far finally. The updated terms of use for Firefox were horrific, right? I don't think any privacy aware or privacy conscious web browser user is now going to look at Firefox and go, I'm comfortable with this. And then Firefox comes out and gaslights everyone, calling you confused and kind of stupid because you clearly didn't understand the legal mumbo jumbo. They put legal in caps and repeatedly tell you how confused you are. And people are not having it. I haven't seen a whole lot of people running around going, golly, I'm glad that Mozilla pointed out how confused I was, because I was certainly pretty stupid about this stuff. But Mozilla's new update to the terms of use, after they called me confused repeatedly, well, that all makes sense. They clearly have my best interests at heart. No, people are all over the place. Their memes are flying fast and furious. People are not having it. And that's a good thing. That's a very, very good thing. Now, people are asking me a great deal about where to go. If you're a Firefox user and you're looking for web browsers that preserve your privacy, web browsers that are open source, and where people who aren't global crews of activists, but just web browser developers. And the truth is there are options that are out there. I personally use Brave. That's the web browser I like the most currently. My hope is that over the next couple of years, we'll have two really great options in Brave and Ladybird. But Ladybird is not fully ready yet. It's getting there, but I'd say we're probably a year off from it being daily drivable, but it's getting better, and they've got real financing behind it. A lot of the Firefox forks, well, that's a lot of F's. A lot of forks of Firefox are out there, like LibreWolf and others. And I'll be honest, I don't trust a single one of them. Not a single one. And if you pay attention to the Lunduke Journal over the coming days, you'll see some news on all of those. I'm not saying there's not a good one out there, but I have yet to see one. They mostly seem like political activists who are censorship heavy, and that gives me a lot of pause when it comes to web browsers. So so I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, Firefox users. No, Firefox did not capitulate to your demands and rewrite their terms of use. Some people are reporting that, like, oh yeah, we yelled about Firefox's new terms of use and Mozilla listened. They updated the terms. They did not. They did not. They made a few minor modifications to how it reads. The legal definitions of everything has remained the same. Firefox and Mozilla still have the rights to use all of your data however the heck they want. They're still an advertising company. They're still a data broker company, and they're still an activist company. But now they've made it clear that they think you're stupid in the same breath. So that's pretty great. Thank you to the Lunduke Journal subscribers for allowing to make this coverage possible. And the coverage I've done of Mozilla for years now, all by myself. Thank you to all of you for allowing to make that possible. Because seriously, if the subscribers to the Lunduke Journal had not been there, supporting the work that I do, so many of the stories that led to this moment would never have been told. All of the stories about the internal struggles, the Game of Thrones style power struggles within Mozilla, the crazy obscene financials of Mozilla, where we dove really deeply into their IRS tax records and showed the really shady business practices, the extreme politics of it all. That wouldn't have been talked about. They're spending their money on literally Marxist and anti-capitalist parties. I mean, none of that got covered anywhere else. And the subscribers to the Lunduke Journal made it possible. So go to lunduke.com. Click on a couple of links, check some things out, become a subscriber, keep the Lunduke Journal rocking so that we can continue to shine a light on these extremely shady organizations. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerds and nerdettes across this worldwide inner tube of ours, I do declare, end broadcast. Click. Oh, I got to click this button. Now I'm going to click this button and the show will end. You're welcome. Later, everybody.